What if one morning you woke up, checked your SNAP balance, and half of it was gone? That's the reality millions of Americans are waking up to this November. In a stunning and controversial move, the Trump administration has announced it will only partially fund November SNAP benefits, cutting payments to millions of low-income Americans by roughly 50%. This marks the first time in the 60-year history of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, that recipients will receive only partial payments. And while the move follows a court order forcing the government to reopen payments, there's a serious catch that could leave millions struggling to put food on the table. Let's break down what's happening, why it matters, and what this could mean for families heading into the holidays. The announcement came after a federal judge in Rhode Island ordered emergency action to avert what could have been a total shutdown of the country's food assistance system. The judge's ruling forced the Department of Agriculture to resume SNAP operations after the administration said it would suspend all payments starting November 25th, blaming the ongoing budget impasse in Washington. But instead of restoring full benefits, the Trump administration decided to release only partial funding. According to officials, SNAP recipients will receive about half of their usual monthly benefit, while states scramble to implement the changes, a process that could take weeks or even months. USDA Deputy Undersecretary Patrick Penn admitted in a court filing that the abrupt shift may lead to delays, errors, or reduced payments through the holiday season. "This is unprecedented," one state official said. "We've had shutdown scares before, but never like this. Never forced to cut benefits in half. The partial payments are only happening because of a court-ordered lifeline." Last Friday, U.S. District Judge John McConnell ruled that the USDA must release emergency contingency funds to prevent a complete halt in SNAP benefits. That emergency fund, about $5.25 billion, was meant for crises like natural disasters, not political gridlock. And here's the kicker. SNAP costs between $8 and $9 billion per month. So even if every dollar of that fund is used, it still won't cover everyone. The Justice Department confirmed compliance with the ruling, saying, "The USDA will fulfill its obligation to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds today." But that's not enough. The administration has refused to use other available resources that could have restored full benefits, leaving states to fill the gap. Food banks, local charities, and community networks are now bracing for an overwhelming surge in demand. For millions of families already struggling with high grocery prices, this couldn't come at a worse time. Inflation is still biting hard. Basic items like bread, milk, and eggs have doubled in some regions. Advocates are calling the cuts devastating. One food policy expert said, "Families aren't just going to feel this in their budgets, they're going to feel it at the dinner table." Parents are being forced to make impossible choices between groceries, rent, and medicine. And as the winter months approach, the timing feels especially cruel. "This is a cruel time to make cuts," another advocate warned. "Children and seniors are the ones who will suffer most." The SNAP cuts aren't just a policy decision, they're part of a bigger political battle. A coalition of Democratic-led states had sued the Trump administration, arguing that it had both the legal authority and the moral duty to maintain full benefits. The judge's emergency order temporarily forced the USDA to act, but it didn't solve the underlying funding crisis. For now, the program is operating on borrowed time and borrowed money. Meanwhile, critics say the administration is using the situation as leverage in ongoing budget negotiations, putting the nation's most vulnerable in the crossfire of political brinkmanship. The administration has also moved $450 million in tariff revenues to temporarily fund another key food program, the WIC program, which helps women, infants, and children. That's enough to keep WIC going for about 3 weeks. After that, it's anyone's guess. As of now, no one in Washington has said what will happen in December, whether there's more contingency money to draw from, or if Congress will act in time to prevent a full collapse. The situation paints a troubling picture. America's food safety net, once considered one of the most reliable in the world, is fraying under political pressure. Anti-hunger advocates say the partial payments could be catastrophic for rural areas and communities of color, where SNAP participation is highest. Families are already choosing between food and medicine, one advocate said. Now they'll have to stretch half a benefit to last a whole month. As Thanksgiving and Christmas draw near, millions of households are facing uncertainty. Will their SNAP cards work next month? Will local food banks run out of supplies? It's a situation that highlights deeper questions about the country's priorities. How did the world's richest nation reach a point where feeding its poorest citizens is, well, optional, dependent on court rulings and contingency funds? And more importantly, what happens next time? This crisis, experts warn, is a sign of what's to come if Congress continues to let political battles disrupt essential services. If the courts hadn't stepped in, the United States could have seen the first ever total shutdown of food aid in modern history. This story isn't just about policy, it's about people. Parents, seniors, veterans, and children. Millions of Americans who depend on food assistance just to survive. Now, they're caught in a storm they didn't create. As the debate continues in Washington, one thing is clear. The nation's safety net is hanging by a thread, and if that thread breaks, it won't just be numbers on a spreadsheet, it'll be lives. So what do you think? Should the federal government be required to protect SNAP funding at all costs? Or are these cuts an unavoidable part of budget reality? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth updates on major political and economic stories from around the world. Thanks for watching and stay informed.